And we welcome you back to the Civic Arena here in Pittsburgh. And with us right now in the opening game for the Penguins at home, the general manager of the Penguins, Craig Patrick. And certainly, Craig, nobody is close to the scene to Bob Johnson as you are. And I know the fans and everybody involved would like to get a status report on how the Badger's doing.
Well, Bob's finished his radiation treatments, and it's going to take about 2 weeks to get the radiation out of his system. But the good signs are that there's been no further growth in the tumor. And he's got to get through the next 2 periods, and then he can start recovering. And things are looking better. He's had a few rough days, but he's watching the games. And Bill Craig from KBL arranged to have a satellite dish put on his house in Colorado Springs, so he gets to watch every game, and that's we're really thankful for that, and so is Bob. I
know there isn't anybody really maybe close in the world more optimistic and positive than Bob Johnson is. I mean, he just has a great attitude, and he's given it a real go here.
Well, he certainly is. It's going to be a tough battle, but anyone with his attitude, enthusiasm, and zest for life is going to pull out of it. He's just that type of man.
Craig, he'll be involved, I would assume, still in some of the coaching duties of this club, along with Scott Bowman. Can you tell us on how that's going to work and how you made your decision on bringing Scott in to run the club at this time?
Well, starting with the playoffs last year, our whole group of coaches that we have assembled today, including Pierre McGuire, who's joined the staff now, but he was in the playoffs. Scotty, Bob, Rick Patterson, Rick Kehoe, Barry Smith, and Pierre McGuire worked hand in hand in getting us through the April and May, and getting us the Stanley Cup last year. And so now it's similar. We have the same 6 people working together, pulling together. We're in constant contact with Bob. They're on the phone and faxing back and forth lineups and plays and power plays and all these things. So they're in constant contact on a regular basis, and it's very similar to last year's operation. When you take those 6 people and try to keep them working together, I felt that Scotty was the best man to have in charge from this end in Pittsburgh, because he's worked closely with Bob. They worked very closely last spring and strategized each and every day, so it can work out very well, and that's the reason we went with Scotty at this time.
Well, the Penguins, of course, defending Stanley Cup champions, and you know there's a lot of other things that went on during the off season, and one of those was free agency, and we saw a lot of situations where players were late in signing, and one of the big concerns, I'm sure, among Penguin fans and the rest of the people involved is Ronnie Francis. Can you give us an update on what his status is right now?
Well, we're still talking with his agent and trying to get the situation resolved. We still have a lot of people throughout the league who haven't signed yet. It seems that goaltenders and centers are the primary people that are sitting out right now. We'll try to get Ronnie settled as quickly as we can, but it's been a difficult chore getting everybody done with the amount of revenues we have and trying to get a balance so that we can keep everybody together.
Are you real surprised at the way things have gone as far as the escalation of the salaries in such a quick period of time, or not?
Well, I am surprised. The trend certainly is towards higher salaries, but I can see where clubs can get an awful lot of trouble if things continue as they are, because we're strapped as it is, and we haven't signed Ronnie yet. So it's going to be a difficult chore each and every year to get players under contract and in uniform and not affect the fans' wallet.
And also you got a situation like baseball, really, because they've got to weed through and figure out which players they would want to keep down the road and which ones they wouldn't in free agency, because you can only go so much as far as salaries are concerned.
You're right. I'm hoping we can keep everybody long term, but the way the trend's going, I think we're going to see an awful lot of movement with players. But on the other hand, I can see where organizations are going to be strapped to take on any more salary. So we could sign all these people to big salaries, and then what are you going to do with them a year from now, because nobody else is going to be able to afford them either. So it's a catch-22 for everyone right now.
I appreciate you being candid with us, Craig. One just real quick question about a 10-second reaction. Has it set in that you've won the Stanley Cup?
That's a very good question, Mike. I don't think it has. I hope it does someday. I think I took Bob's ring out to him last week, and I think seeing it on Bob's finger helped it set in for me.
I know it's still new to everybody, and it may take just a little while for it all to set in. Thanks a lot, Craig.
Thank you.
Craig Patrick's been our special guest here at the arena. We'll have more hockey from Pittsburgh in a moment right here on the Penguins Hockey Network.